Hello. This is week 3. See what's happening here first. By the way, this is Jules, like my parent object. This is not Jules. This is her child. This is JJ, the child of Jules and Jerry, who you will definitely be meeting because as much as JJ is a homie, they are quite barren, and I will get sick of looking at this at one point. And you will find a Jules or Jerry the moment I decide to figure out how to import Blender objects into Unity. But let's see what's happening here. Also, as of making this video, we are on our 7th restart. Yeah. Okay. So you can see Jules can move. Not really, you can't really see it happening over here, right? But you can see it happening over here. Jules can move. She can run these streets. She can also hop, but she can also run the streets. With our red bullets. But it looks like in the wide view that not only can JJ run the streets, can go also and run the void too, but nah, Chief. There's walls there. It might not look like there's walls, but they teleport just there just to keep you from falling off the edge. So let's see how this is done. Oh, I closed Visual Studio. Oh my god, Visual. Okay. I closed it. I'm like, oh, but let's make sure Unity doesn't crash again. Unity is literally more unstable than my mental health. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Usually it opens. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so let's go over Big Bullet first. So Big Bullet is, please, the cherry on top. Oh my god. Okay. So Big Bullet is this. Look at its danger red. So cutesy, so demure, right? We have a private rigid body we named RB and a private float for the bullet speed that we set at 50. And then at the start at we running the game or it's spawning, it we get the rigid body that we set private up here gets the rigid body from the object that is placed on. You see, this is placed on. I guess I did not need the F. You see that the rigid body is placed on Big Bullet here, and then we have a destroy. You can destroy the game object that is connected to, which is Big Bullet, and then when it destroys it, which is a float, and we have it destroying it after per 1.5 seconds. And then here in its update field, we have on Big Bullet's rigid body, we're adding the force velocity change to go forward, which is Z axis, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the Z axis, the blue axis. We're multiplying it by the speed that we set up here, the float, times delta time, which you explained as it like helping computers. Also, it keeps it from like going Sonic speed Mach 5. That 50 will turn to a 500 real quick, and then we're then the force of velocity change, and then to the player. So in the week 3 thing, it said to only do forward and backward, but I brain went burr, so I made an entire system. Please yell at me if I did it completely wrong. So let me explain these up here. I set all of these though I just found out that they have to be static, public static. So for later, for an option menu or something, just thinking forward, thinking ahead, even though we're probably not going to be making an option menu. We have rapid move, which I'll explain later. Rapid fire is grounded. We have vector 3, and the game object for big bullet, it's fire point. And while I'm on this topic, let me do that. It's fire point and the wall, the teleporting walls that kept JJ from running the streets and the void, right? That's very important. You gotta keep JJ on the streets because he'll fall into the void. Okay, okay. So we set move rigid body up here. I'm pretty sure we went over this last video. So yeah, I don't have to go over it. Yay! Okay, here, however, we have freeze rotation because for right now, we don't have a robust camera system to move with us, and we don't want our player falling over like a goober. And but we also want it to move, which is why we're freezing rotation. And then we have our functions here. We're gonna start with move player. So we start with making, I think these are called temp variables, if I remember correctly, because they're not called at the beginning of the class, but in the function. We have our float move X and move Z. So when we are moving per se, when we press forward, which I have set up there as W, you add, I think this is how it's working. You add one to the Z. You might as well, but they're variables right now. I'm this down there, and then all the forward, which I set up there. But negative one means opposite, and the one means regular. We got clockwise and counterclockwise. And then we also have jump and is grounded. Is grounded checks for the floor, that handsome floor right there. It checks for that. I have it tagged as ground, so later when we get to jump, it checks for any object that is tagged ground, and then uh sets is grounded to true. But since you're jumping, because you done pressed the jump key, it sets it to false, and then it uses moves the rigid body, which is set as whatever we put it on, which is JJ over there. We add force vector up, which is the y-axis, multiplied by move J force, because jumping with the force of 1,200 is high, and you will never come down apparently. So I made a jump force. It's just 4, we gotta be boring around here. And then impulse. So the force impulse, instead of using like velocity or something, which would kind of make it like a slow, unimpactful jump, it'll just be like you like raising up on your tippy toes to reach something. Instead, it ignores like mass and something. It ignores mass and something. It ignores, yeah, using its mass. No, we learned something new. It ignores something. Essentially, it makes the jump more instant instead of gradual. So you're not reaching up on your tippy toes, you're actually jumping. Okay, then we set with the actual move stuff. So this is where the move direction is the vector 3. You call it, and then move direction, you make a new vector, and then you're adding the you're adding move X, which can either be -1 or 1, to the X variable in vector 3, or Z, which is -1 or 1, and then normalized. The best way I could describe it is in game maker terms, which is clamped. And what it essentially does is keep it from going above or below, like into the decimals. Something something, and on a grid, there's 0 to 1, which is 1, and on the y-axis 0 and 1, on the x-axis is 1, but 1 1, the distance between 0 0 and 0 1 is 0 0, and 1 1 is 1.5, so it keeps it from doing that. That's what I'm trying to say. So it keeps it like instead of going to that 1.5 range, it stays at 1. uh and then we have, I got this. Sorry, it's 3 a.m. Maybe the wall thing wasn't worth it, but it's chill. Okay, so we have the then we're applying linear velocity to the rigid body, which is attached to the player. We take all of this mess, right? And a new vector 3, by the way. We take all of this move direction and multiply it by the move speed that we set up there, which was 1,200. And then we have y, which we don't do anything with unless we're using it in jump. Like, that's a different story. And then we have z, which we do the same thing with. Okay, it's a player actions. Okay, I've turned this into the rapid move thing into a sprint mechanic, hopefully, possibly. I mean, it works when I use it. I just didn't use it in the thing. So, move sprint is set up there as left shift. So when you press left shift, I want to change that. We're changing this code live. F it, we'll do it live. Okay. That describes the problem I was having earlier when I actually used it. I thought my sticky keys were on. Okay, so restart. Move sprint is set as left shift up there. Why I changed it from get key down to get key up is because, oh wait, no, that didn't change it. That would keep changing it though. I'll figure it out later. Essentially, what a actual sprint button would do, like in Call of Duty, you hold down the analog stick and you sprint, but then you let go of the analog stick and you stop. But here, since it's more like a switch, a toggle, if you will, you're toggling if rapid move is on or off. So essentially, you have rapid move is default false. So then you equal it to not rapid move, which is false, so then it would make it true. But then you press it again, and then since it's true and it's not rapid move, then it'll make it false. So it's a toggle. Yeah, but I essentially it's a sprint key. Okay, and then the rapid fire thing which you saw, I literally just did this before I did the video. So we have the has rapid fire. I didn't make it a way to turn it on because I feel like this is more of a thing to do with a power up. You don't need to be having your bullets go Mach speed. So if rapid fire, if has rapid fire is true, then you can just hold down what is move shoot, which is the left mouse button for me, and all the bullets fire out of the player character fire point at Mach speed. I don't know why it's not showing JJ here, but the fire point. Oh, there we go. Wait, hold on. That fire point. I don't know why it's not showing JJ, but it's like slightly in front of JJ. It's slightly in front of JJ. So it doesn't clip into the player and put the player back. I mean, that would be funny, but not helpful. Well, else, if it's not true, then you have to press it individually, like you're shooting a bow in Minecraft. You know, game balance and such. Tears. Now we have the wall summon. So, about that wall. About that wall. That wall is actually hiding. Literally clipping into the floor. Right? I tried to do this with a plane and Unity just kept screaming at me. So I made another cube essentially set it to be the floor. And what I do is I find the player X and Z positions. So when the just so you know, the regular floor is 25 by 0.25 by 25. So going to the edge in each direction is 12.5, right? So if the player's X or Z position goes above 12 and or below negative 12, then the wall then moves, which is what this is doing, to where it's flush with the ground. That's what the 5.2 125 is. And then moving all the way back to where it needs to be to go block the player or block JJ from running the void, okay? And then rotating, so well, that actually, now that I think, because I'm not working with a plane anymore, that's not really needed. But you know, if you are gonna use your walls with planes, the planes only have texture on one side, which is why I had to rotate it. And here's the devlogs. I don't have any of the funny ones in here. I was I was a little frustrated after restart number 7. And then else, when you know when the player's X or Z position is in fact not above positive 12 or below negative 12, then it just goes back to pretending to be the floor. I thought it would be funny because my friends would be like, "Wow, look, open space, let me jump in," and then get blocked by the wall. And I think I explained this already. Yeah. So this is a built-in function from Unity. It's the on collision enter, which means it happens right as you touch it. If I remember correctly, I'm going on. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. Okay. So, essentially, you call the game object, which is what it's connected to, right? You call the game object, and then you compare tag. The tag ground is connected to the floor, not the wall. The wall's only pretending to be the floor, the actual floor. And if the two collision boxes are touching, then it sets is grounded to true. Yay! I hope you enjoyed my TED Talk.